Summerslam is one of the biggest events of the summer for WWE. I am Joe from WWE Water, so why not make my first video about SummerSlam? And this is my SummerSlam 2017 prediction match card. First up, we have Big Show versus Big Cass at SummerSlam. These two are already feuding. Enzo Amore is feuding with Big Cass as well, and Enzo Amore has the big giant 7-footer, well, the real 7-footer in real life, Big Show in his corner, and Big Show and Big Cass almost guaranteed to happen this year at SummerSlam 2017. Next up, this is a bit of one of the wild predictions of the night. It is the New Day, the Usos, and Breezango in a triple threat match for the SmackDown Tag Titles, and the New Day will defeat the Usos at Battleground and will hold the SmackDown Tag Titles going into SummerSlam. And I think the New Day will retain at SummerSlam. I don't know yet. And if you thought that prediction was crazy, next up is a fatal 4-way for the Raw Tag Titles between Sheamus and Cesaro, the Revival, and now coming up on your screen, the Hardy Boys and Anderson and Gallows. I don't know what WWE is going to do with the Raw Tag Titles yet for SummerSlam, but this is one of the best predictions I have right now. So I think WWE might do that. Next up, we have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens. Now, SummerSlam for SmackDown Live is really hard to predict, as Raw matches to predict are pretty easier. But I want Nakamura versus Styles at WrestleMania. So I want this match to happen at SummerSlam. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens. And it's going to be a great match. Next up, for the Raw Women's title, we have Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss. Now, let me say this. This can be a triple threat match if you add Bayley to it. But I think there's going to be a clear winner next week between Sasha and Bayley. And it's going to be Sasha. I want the Sasha-Alexa feud to continue. And Sasha versus Alexa for the Raw Women's title would be a great match at SummerSlam. Probably steal the show for the woman over SmackDown. Next up, we have AJ Styles versus Rusev for the United States title. Rusev hates America, looking for his third U.S. title at SummerSlam, but AJ Styles is going to be the American hero and defeat Rusev and retain his United States title. Well, that's probably what's going to happen. It was hard to predict SmackDown Live once again, but I am going with AJ versus Rusev for SummerSlam. Next up, it's a triple threat match for the Intercontinental title. The Miz as champ versus Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. This could be a one-on-one match between Rollins and Miz, but I'm going for a triple threat match here. Rollins and Ambrose both feuding with Miz, and I think it's a very good storyline between Miz, Rollins, and Ambrose right now, so I want to see this triple threat match at SummerSlam. Next up, it's the Viper versus the Lone Wolf, Randy Orton versus Baron Corbin, next up at SummerSlam. And I'll say it for a third time in this video, SmackDown is hard to predict, but if I had a spot on the card for Randy Orton right now, it would be against Baron Corbin. We're not going to see Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal for the first time. It's pretty obvious that a match later on in the card with Jinder Mahal will be that match at SummerSlam. So I'm going Randy versus Corbin. Next up, for the SmackDown Women's title, Naomi versus Charlotte Flair. Charlotte will win at Battleground, and I think that is obvious, and she will go on to challenge Naomi for the SmackDown Women's title at SummerSlam. And I think Charlotte could be the one ending Naomi's reign. It's going to be an okay match. Not the greatest, but I'm putting a SmackDown Women's title match on SummerSlam, of course. Next up, we have Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor And this is the last match I'm going to talk about before the 2 world title matches. And Finn Balor and Bray are both losing some momentum, even though Finn is now still feuding with Elias Sampson. I don't know why, and kind of feuding with Bray because Bray appeared on the screen on Monday Night Raw to talk to Finn, but Bray's kind of getting momentum back after beating Seth Rollins twice. I don't know. Next up for the WWE title, it's Jinder Mahal versus John Cena. Pretty obvious it's going to be Cena getting the title opportunity at Jinder. And the thing is, I think I want Baron to cash in on Jinder because I know Baron is probably going to cash in at SummerSlam. Maybe even Carmella and Baron cash in at SummerSlam. But I want him to cash in on Jinder because John Cena, winning his 17th title over Jinder Mahal, I just don't like that. Next up, it's our main event. Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman in a fatal 4-way for the Universal title. There's no clear winner to the number 1 contenders match between Reigns and Joe. And if I would put Joe versus Ambrose, but if that will leave Strowman off the card, so I'm going with this. Thanks. Please subscribe.